I still try to go ultralight. I want a lighter pack, but I've taken it too far more than once and paid the price on trail. So these are the ultralight trade-offs I am no longer willing to make. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. And thank you so much for being with me again today. Hey, today I want to talk about a few ultralight trade-offs that I have originally made that bit me in the backside on the trail. And while I will no longer make those trade-offs anymore, look, I still try to live the ultralight principles. I still try to keep my base weight under 10 pounds where I can, though I don't fret over it. But there are some areas where I am unwilling to compromise anymore. The first place was with my sleeping pad. So let's get into it. Okay, so summer of 2023, I embark in my first ever real thru hike on the Uinta Highline Trail. And because I don't go halfway into anything and I go full bore into pretty much everything I do, I tried to go as ultralight as I possibly could. And that generally was fine for me, except in one area. I chose the Thermarest X-Lite, Neo Air X-Lite Mummy version 20-inch wide pad because it was like 13 ounces. I think the lightest besides the Uberlight at the time, maybe even still on the market. And it was great in terms of the weight savings that I got from it. But my problem was, and I think most of you can probably empathize here, is that pad, first off, was really loud and crinkly. Second off, it's just, for me, how I sleep and for my body, not a very comfortable pad. That 20 inches up on the top hardly was able to keep my shoulders on, and my arms would fall off of it. And because it's a relatively thick pad and your arms are falling off, they were falling asleep a lot. If I tried to side sleep, which I typically am a side sleeper, it was very uncomfortable. And again, my arms were falling asleep. So for that entire trip, 5 nights, I did not sleep well whatsoever. By the end of that trip, it was really starting to wear down on me. So in this case, I went lighter than many other options out there. And it kind of made my trip worse, certainly from a sleep standpoint. So when it comes to comfort around my sleep, this is one area I will not skimp on. Okay, so the second trade-off I am unwilling to make any longer. This has to do with shoes. In the summer of 2025, I prepped for my thru hike of the Tahoe Rim Trail. I chose the Topo Mountain Racer 3s to use that year. I thought I had tested them out well enough and put enough miles on them. Hindsight being what it is, I did not test them out thoroughly. I did not get enough miles on them. I didn't stack enough days back to back to back in my train up to really get a feel for what the shoes were going to do to my feet. And I assumed that they were going to work out just fine for me. I've always had really good luck when it comes to my feet and blisters. But by day 2 on the Tahoe Rim Trail, I had already got 2 blisters on my feet. By day 3, another 2 blisters. And by day 4, coming into Tahoe City, I was not in good shape with my feet and really needed that day and a half to do some work and to get my feet right again. And it really impacted the rest of my trip. It certainly was on my mind, and I could really feel it through the end of the trip for the remaining 5 days. So now, especially when it comes with shoes, I don't care so much about how much they weigh. I care more about the comfort and how they are going to help my feet on trail. Ultralight, we really look to shave weight wherever we can. And we've even gone from hiking boots down to trail runners or even just running shoes I have seen on trail before. So with shoes, I'm not going to skimp out on the weight I will be looking more for comfort and how they fit my feet. So this is the trade-off I am not willing to make anymore. I'm not going to sacrifice comfort just to save a couple of ounces. And the third area where I refuse to make trade-offs any longer is with food. So the summer of 2024, I thru-hiked the John Muir Trail with my 15-year-old son. In preparation for that trail, I tried to optimize our food absolutely perfectly. I tried to make sure that we were as optimized as humanly possible. I knew we'd have long food carries, especially the second week after we left Vermilion Valley Resort. And I wanted to make sure that what we were carrying met the caloric needs that I had, and had a optimized ratio of fats, protein, and carbohydrates. But for me, this did not work out well. So optimization does not equal real world usability. For much of the entire trail, a lot of the food that I planned and sent in a few different resupply options, I just didn't eat anymore. The first day or two, I was choking it down, really having a hard time with the taste and the texture of it. And by the time we were at Vermilion Valley Resort to get our resupply for the last 7 days of the trail, there's a lot of food that I just left behind in the hiker boxes because I could not stomach the taste of it anymore. They were things like paleonola. Not bad, just not great. Heather's Choice little macaroons, I think they are. I think they're made out of like almond flour. They're very paleo, I think. They don't have a lot of like traditional carbohydrates in them, a lot more fat. Coconut flour maybe, or coconut within it as well. Just things that were very dry and really hard for me to eat. So it made its way into the hiker box, and I did not eat those anymore and was hungry for a lot of that second week leading up to our summit of Mount Whitney and finishing. So what worked out on the spreadsheets did not work out very well on trail. The fourth trade-off I refuse to make in terms of going ultralight has to do with framed backpacks versus frameless backpacks. In the summer of 2024, as I was training up for my thru hike of the Tahoe Rim Trail, I tried to train up and I wanted to use a frameless pack on that trail. I knew I wouldn't be needing to carry as much weight. I knew I would have a number of places where I could do food resupplies along the way. Therefore, I thought I could use a frameless pack and try a frameless pack out for the first time on a thru hike. In my train up, my day hikes and putting in some miles, the frameless pack I was using felt okay, but I could start to feel even after about 7 to 8 to 9 miles, it was really pulling on my shoulders. My loads were no more than about 20 pounds at the time. I tested about 3 different frameless backpacks during this time as well. Yes, I have a backpack problem, but that's beside the point. I did a 3-day, 2-night trip with that backpack up into the mountains near where I live. And by the end of the first day, my shoulders and back were so sore and bruised from where the shoulder straps sat. If you've watched the channel, you know the pack I've talked about. I'm not going to bring it up here. The company is great. I'm sure the pack is great. I think my body is just not suitable or doesn't work well with frameless packs. I also know that there's probably things that I did wrong, so I won't blame the pack per se. There's probably some things that I did not do either. User error is likely a contributing factor to this discussion. But regardless of whether there's user error or the pack or frameless packs themselves, it's not something that I'm willing to put up with or try to get better at. It just isn't. So I will continue with framed packs and enjoy a little bit of that luxury and a little bit more of the weight penalty that comes with a framed pack. And the fifth area that I refuse to make a trade-off to be more ultralight, and that is with my camera gear. Now, I just made a video on this, which I can link up here or link down there, about the cameras I took with me on the Tahoe Rim Trail. One of those just sat in my pack and was dead weight. I know, very not ultralight of me in that decision. But when it comes to cameras, that's just not something I'm willing to part my ways with. I like cameras. I like documenting. I like the unique shots, and I'm trying to get better at this skill set of documenting and photographing and filming my hikes and my adventures. So this is definitely not an ultralight principle to bring a lot of electronics, to bring a redundancy of cameras, which I do. But in this case, this is weight that I choose to carry, and I'm not going to compromise this. I'm not going to make the trade-off in this area. Well, friends, thanks for being here again with me today. So I'm curious, where have you drawn the line? What's one place that you've tried to go lighter and realized it just wasn't worth it? Leave a comment below and let us know. I'd love to hear the areas that you've tried and what you're doing differently as a result of on-trail testing. And if you want to hear about some of the backpacking advice that I have stopped listening to after hundreds of miles on trail, I will link that video right here. And I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.